When I was driving this 190 E2.6, I noticed there was a lot of play in the shifter. You could actually hear it rattle, and when you try to shift it, it would just, half inch of play moving between the gears. Now, from my experience, I know what the problem is. It's those classic, nylon plastic shift bushings that wear and just fall out. So your linkage is just rattling around in a metal hole. And this can actually be quite dangerous. I have actually seen a car come out of park and roll down a hill and run into a tree because the shift bushings were totally shot. So, as a 201 owner though, if you have to replace shift bushings, you're going to have a challenge on your hand, particularly if you have the 190 E2.6. You hardly have any room at all to work between the side of the transmission and the tunnel in the body. So what I've learned over the years working on these particular chassis is it's best to just drop the transmission down. I know it's more work, but I tell you, you're going to have a really hard time replacing the shift bushing on the lever on the transmission in particular. And also if you're having any problems with the neutral safety switch, either not turning on your backup lights or your car having a difficult time turning over with the starter, you have to replace this switch. You also need to drop the transmission down. And what you need to do that is you need to, get the fan shroud off, so you don't break the fan shroud. And then you're going to have to, disconnect the back end of the exhaust system in the mount arm here, and actually using a jack. If you're doing this on the ground, you would use a floor jack. Here I'm using a transmission jack, and just allow the engine to come down. Be sure and support the exhaust, but allow the engine to come down to this point right here. So you can see there's the lever, but even then you're looking up in there to get to that bushing, and there's the neutral safety switch, which you now would have access to. So this is just a little tip for you 201 owners. If you have to work on that side of the transmission to replace either of those two parts, this is the way to do it. Now, we're not done yet. It's still a challenge to get that bushing in and out. Let me show you the special tool that we use to do that with. Cut. It's so tight up in there that I really can't even film it for you. So I've got the parts down here so you can kind of see them. Here's the lever and here's the shift rod, and look what happens when the bushing disintegrates. You've got this much play. That's why you'll feel slop in the shifter when you shift. You'll also hear rattling down there while you're driving. The bushing looks like this. This bushing here was used on, Mercedes from back in the 60s right up into the 2000s. So this is one universal part on a Mercedes-Benz, and it is a universal failure due to age. Okay, this is a failure due to age, and these cars are getting older. So the challenge is to be able to get, you can see how tight this fits on the rod, but the challenge is really to get it into the hole on that shift lever. And we've come up with a special tool that will do that. First, I'll show you how we do that right here, and then we'll go up and try to get a couple shots how the tool fits up in there alongside the transmission to install the new bushing while the lever is on and in the car. Let me show you the challenge. Notice the bushing has to go in this hole. Notice how big it is. Notice that by pushing on it, you're certainly not going to get it in the hole, even with two thumbs. You're not going to get it in by grabbing it a hold with a pair of pliers and squeezing it. That's just going to spread it out and prevent it from that lip from going inside that hole. And you can imagine how difficult it is to do this when it's, up alongside the transmission. So enter the special tool. We build these right here in our shop. It's a modified long needle nose pliers, and we weld these special fittings on to the end to allow you to install this with the lever in the car. You can see the bushing hangs on this stud right like that, and then you're able to lift it up alongside the transmission and up into the tunnel, and you line it up. Watch this. You line it up with a hole, and then you bring the plier together like this, and watch as it snaps that bushing into the shift lever. Look at the pressure it takes. And you just wait. Look at that. See that? That's why you need this tool. Now let's take a close look up inside the transmission here on this car and see if I can show you how well this tool reaches up in there to install this bushing. In preparation to get this up in here, I've put a little silicone dielectric grease both on the stud, that'll help to keep that bushing fall, and then I've coated this edge. That'll help it snap in a little bit easier. Now I'm going to reach up in there, right in behind that lever, and get it started in the hole. Right there. Okay, now I'm going to squeeze, and you may have to rotate it like this. See that? Okay, there it is. It's installed. Wasn't that slick? So if you own a Mercedes from the early to mid 60s all the way up to the early 2000s, and you own it for any length of time, I can almost guarantee that you're going to need this tool someday. So this is available on our website. Just follow the link below in the description. It'll take you right to it. I forgot to mention this also works as a bushing extractor tool. You've got to come at it at an angle like this. Get this bottom piece right up there, and then you push right on that edge and then kind of rotate it like this as you go, and it pops the bushing right out. Now what could be slicker than that? It's a multi-purpose tool.